conspiracy. Am I allowed to answer this?
You're not qualified.
I'm not qualified, but I'll give it a shot.
Before we go too deep on further ones, I just thought I'd go to the one that started them all, the conspiracy that was the one that coined the term conspiracy, and that was the
Was Jesus a black man?
No. I think that probably would have happened after JFK was assassinated.
JFK.
So
the Grizuda film and that.
Yeah. What's your take on it? And
the CIA was involved, and I think the people too, the drug people were involved, like the mafia. He was trying to do too much good, and they wanted him out. So it's like all the film that was confiscated, none's ever been given back. Pages of documents about it have never seen the light of day, or they've been locked up for so long. I don't see how his assassination is a matter of national security. You know, it's like it was assassination, so why can't they just say what truly happened? And then remember the magic bullet theory, where the bullet went through him and into Connolly sitting in the front shoulder, and then into his wrist, and then turned around and went back the other way. You know, there's too many people out there who have nothing in it to gain, but they even said, some of the people said they heard a bullet coming from behind them. Remember, there was the grassy knoll and people behind the fence. And there was a railway worker, he said, I saw two people standing behind the fence dressed in suits and that, and all this sort of stuff. And then after the shooting, he seen them, they had like cases, and they just walked off down the railway tracks into the railway yard and disappeared. So there's too much shit out there that, you know, it says it was, well, look at Lee Harvey Oswald for once. He just looks like a patsy to begin with. Yeah. The scapegoat. Okay, he might have been into all this Cuban stuff and with Fidel and all this, so they made him look like he was crazy, he was against the government and stuff, which he might have been. He might have just been a protester. But for him to do that, and then when they talk to like some of these top snipers or marksmen, and they said with the gun he had, you know, that bolt action rifle, to take those shots from that window, they said they couldn't even really do it, and they're like top snipers. So it's just like all bullshit. Why did his motorcade slow down to that speed going around there and different shit like that? So there's too many unanswered questions, and their thing just doesn't add up at all about it. And then it's so funny that, you know, when his brother Robbie goes to run for whatever, Robbie gets shot in the head in Los Angeles going through the kitchen, and then even some of the people said, you know, he wasn't meant to go that way, he was meant to go a different way, but last minute they changed the exit to him going that way. So how would, okay, if you sort of think, okay, this is the way he's going into a building, this is the way he was coming out, if I was going to assassinate him, I'd be waiting out the front. So it was just so funny that this Sirhan happened to know all of a sudden, wait a minute, he's coming out for the back through the kitchen. How the fuck would he have known to be there to shoot him type thing? And then getting back to JFK, it's just so funny that Jack Ruby, who finally comes into it and gets found to be guilty on some shit. Oh, isn't it funny that he just goes to jail and dies of cancer? And then you got Lee Harvey Oswald, who, like, you know, he could have had lots of information to tell. He gets shot by Jack Ruby leaving the fucking thing, so he can never talk now, can he? So, and like I said, he shoots fucking Kennedy. I mean, he shoots Oswald, but he doesn't care because he's dying of cancer anyway. So I'm sure there was some deal made. You're dying of fucking cancer and shit. And he was wasn't he some sort of gangster and in trouble all the time, Jack Ruby anyway. So I'm sure we'll take care of your family or whatever if you do this for us, because you're dying anyway. So who cares? You're not going to be in jail that long, which he wasn't before he died. But it certainly shut Oswald up, didn't it?
Oh, look, I look at the whole thing and you know, everyone sort of looks up to America as the leaders of the free world and think that you know, they're the, you know, considering they spread democracy everywhere in the world, and the, you know,
why do they never spread democracy in China?
But well, the big companies are too busy buying.
China has too many big weapons and
all their stuff off them. But I just find it incredible when you think about it. Like, an American president was assassinated, that's straight up, straight off the bat, like something that had happened in a second or third world country. Then, so he's been assassinated. Then the guy who assassinates him, probably, the most should be the most heavily guarded prisoner in the world.
Gets walked out. As they're leading him, he's sort of in the front. They're leading him.
Yeah.
They're like, don't hit us when you shoot him.
Yeah. So he gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
So straight away, that's.
Who's to say too? Because like he got shot here, remember? It's like, who's to say that shot there wasn't a fatal one? So they get him to the hospital. Like, oh fuck, he's still alive. We've got to kill him.
Yeah. While
he's in the hospital, they might have drugged him up and killed him there. So,
and so
maybe his gunshot didn't kill him.
So that's the alarm bells there. But I think the bigger alarm bells is, straight after he's dead, America joins a war that
can they want to keep him out of?
Yeah, that cost billions of dollars and
lost all those lives and they didn't even win. They failed. The Vietnam War was one of the biggest fucking money makers for companies, but as far as anything been done, nothing happened. Nothing changed. They just fucking lost all those lives. Companies made money and that sort of shit. And then it came down to with the Castro and everything else going on down there. When you look back at those movies where you see when the CIA was selling drugs on the streets of America.
Yep.
Given that movie, that one movie that guy in America Made with Tom Cruise played the part.
Yes.
They're selling drugs to Nicaragua, they're getting drugs from there. Now he's working for the fucking drug lords, taking guns back down to the rebels and shit and stuff like that. The CIA's involved. It's like, come on, how could anyone in America seriously trust anything the government tells them or does to this day? It's like, you're all fucking crazy. If you think the government's there to fucking better you and that sort of shit, you're there helping them, you're their little pawns. They got you twisted around their finger. You're living under the illusion of fucking freedom. And don't get us started on 9/11 either, for fuck's sake.
Well, that'll be another one. But if a book that really changed my life was
Red Riding Hood.
No. That was the plot that killed Kennedy. Crossfire: The Plot That Killed Kennedy by Jim Mars, and that was the book that Oliver Stone read.
And when he made the movie.
Yeah, but before he did it, he spent millions researching it just to make sure it wasn't all rubbish.
Even some of those people that were standing there watching the car go by, I think there was one guy who used to be there was in some war, and he says, I know what a gun sounds like. One went off behind me and I heard the bullet go past. And then there was even like marks in the concrete where bullets had hit. And I think they reckon there was about 4 or 5 shots that went off, not just 1 or 2, so there were a couple that missed.
Well, in that book, in a way, it's not a good book in that it's very hard to read because he goes into so much detail and things that he covers is the actual investigation. And people are given sworn testimony that they found a bullet casing, told the police, but then but never comes in the official report. I was watching a documentary
or similar to that where people have given sworn statements, even given their film and photos, all disappeared, and they've even said the report I gave was never brought up, and even in the final inquest or whatever it is, the final conclusion, none of it's even mentioned. It's just like washed over. Like, no, we can't say that because that would that wouldn't go with our story. So
no, and even you obviously think when you're talking conspiracies.
And the thing is too, that people say, well, how could they get a conspiracy like that? You only need a couple of people. It's like the whole moon landing thing when they're like, well, there's so many people at NASA. It's like, but not everyone at NASA's in on it. Like if there's 500 people, maybe 100 of them work on the nuts and bolts, and that's all they fucking know. And then somebody else might work on the thruster part of the ship. That's what. So really, when it comes down to the actual voyage of the thing going to the moon, there's probably only 8 to 10 that maybe are really in that know every part of the whole thing, whereas other people just know bits and pieces of it. The same as the Kennedy assassination. It's like, and then if you do know, okay, you're being told you're in the CIA and you're in higher up and you know this is going to happen, and you know, fuck, they're going to kill the president. well, you're not going to fucking say anything, are you?
Yeah.
If they can kill a president, well, it wouldn't be hard to get you and your family and everybody else, would it? So that's how they keep a fucking secret.
The conclusions that...
But wasn't there a thing too, sorry to cut in, but wasn't there just a thing not long ago of someone that was dying, and he even said on his deathbed that Kennedy was killed by the government and stuff? I think there was some guy not long ago, a real old guy, as he died he wanted to get off his chest and say that
would have died even quicker.
I'm going to say this now.
Now, the conclusions that Jim Mars, the bloke that wrote the book, it was more or less that the government sort of didn't kill him, but what they did was they sort of stood down on certain things, so they
letting other people.
Yeah, so they probably knew something was happening. They
it's like, okay, we're just gonna look this way for 1 minute.
Well, they shouldn't have gone through the
way it went.
The plaza. That was, you know.
And I think they even mentioned too about having that window open. You know, do all the studies, and that they said today if there was that sort of thing happening and they saw an open window, they wouldn't have let the motorcade go through there, or somebody would have went up there to check why the windows were open. Because generally now when places go past, you know, manholes are covered up, garbage bins are removed, windows, and you know, they check windows in the buildings, and then they'll have guards in the buildings so nothing can be changed once that route's been planned. So this was just like so haphazard. It was just like, oh, here we go, and then slow the car down to this speed, which it normally doesn't do. And
the Secret Service went out the night before and got drunk and partied, and there was all these things that, you know, shouldn't have normally happened.
Yeah, I think they did release some of them now. Even somebody was saying, you know, there's going to be a certain date they were going to release so much of the inquiry and what really happened. But then I think half of it, when they released it, was all blacked out. It's like, well, why would you black it out? Like I said, it's not a national security. It's not like saying, here's a list of spies, here's their names and addresses, here's people undercover. All you're doing is releasing the inquiry and what happened. So why black any of it out? What are you hiding there? So it's like, you know, releasing this saying, oh, here's the final report. It's like, well, it doesn't tell us anything because you've edited it all. So you're no further ahead in knowing anything.
But if you read this book and how sloppy the investigation was, and another very...
I remember too the pristine bullet that was on the stretcher. It's like they said if a bullet had gone through a head and this sort of stuff, and they did experiments.
A shoulder.
And then even showed it, and then it's like someone just went and put that bullet, put that bullet on the fucking thing, and then that bullet perfectly matched the gun that was up in the thing. It's like, but yet there was no prints on it, no nothing, and then they find Oswald is sitting in a cinema not knowing what was going on. He's like, what, you know? So I said, it's all set up and staged. He was as clueless as anything when they told him the president's been shot. It's like, well, you're going to go watch a movie, are you? That's not even a good place to hide. And then remember there was the photograph too, they said it was doctored, where he's standing in the backyard holding the gun. The shadow's going one way, but his head's tilted, and the shadow from his neck's going the total opposite, meaning there's, you know, you got the sun coming one way, so the shadow shouldn't be going the opposite direction. So they weren't too good at Photoshop back then. So
no, definitely worth a read. And the other interesting thing that was pointed out in this
Isn't
book,
it funny when you mention it and you say, yes, the CIA did kill their own president, they're hardcore regular, our government would never do that. No, our government wouldn't do that. Really?
Well, it's not even a government now, it's this whole organisation.
Well, it's almost like people mentioned it years ago, like the whole one world thing, you know, New World Order. And that's pretty much what it is. It's a group of people that are controlling everything, but they don't want to believe that. No, that's just bullshit. You remember back years when people used to talk about this New World Order, people laughed about it, but you know, the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts and the George Soros and all those people, they control everything. And you look back at some of those family, the Rothschilds, when you look back at some of the history, even through England, when you go back to the 18th century, the Rothschilds were helping wars back then, funding both sides back hundreds of years ago. They were into that sort of thing. So people are just like pawns in their little game. And you watched that movie Vice, did you? The new one with Dick Cheney, where...
No, I haven't seen that.
It's very interesting because it's done on a lot of facts and stuff, and throughout the movie they'll say, you know, what happened here and what happened there. It was just the movie will freeze and it will say, and then it was coming up with the map of Iraq and where all the oil was, and
Yes.
Cheney's like, we need to get into Iraq, and then it was like, then it shows you the next scene, and the next day the Iraq war started. But then at the very end of the movie, it'll be going through how many people made money from this. His Halliburton company made how many billion from the war, and pretty much when you watch it, Cheney had officers in every department of the government that people normally never had. His attorney or whoever guy was with him was in on every meeting. I thought, no one's ever had that done before. So when you really watch it, pretty much like he was the president. He was the one pretty much running Bush and everybody.
Yeah, no, well, and he was getting run by the people that were paying him.
Oh yeah.
But that's a whole other thing. But even with the after the assassination, the Kennedy assassination, I think the airfares alone, someone can fact check this for me, for Vietnam were like $5 billion or something crazy like that. That whole war just costs.
Well, it wasn't the one that stepped in for Kennedy after he got killed. The one that was on the plane when he got sworn in with Kennedy's wife there. So
Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, like he said, he pretty much signed the war the next day.
Yeah.
Let's go to war. So same sort of thing. That's the thing. It's just, I said, money runs everything. The big companies and the big people that have all the money, they're doing it. They're saying, and they said how long that Vietnam War went on for. When there was a documentary on it, and they just said that nothing was obtained by it, just lives lost. Nothing happened. It was like a useless war. That's just crazy. That's why it was funny, because you see people go, I feel sorry for the Vietnam vets because they got treated like shit. But the only thing that annoys me, even here in Australia, when like you see people in the military, it's like it's great what they do because they really got no choice. They get told to go to war, they've got to go to war. But you know, America's like, thank you for fighting for our freedom.
Yeah.
Thank you for fighting for our freedom. I'm like, wait a minute. You're not an American slave from back years ago, so when have you not been free?
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time someone tried to invade or bomb America.
Yeah.
You've had a few little terrorist acts, but they're questionable. But it's like, you know, when you're talking about invade, you know, when you got Iran and Iraq, they actually invaded each other. You know, fucking Germany back in the day, they invaded Paris and all different parts of the world. That's an invasion. Now, if you were in fucking Germany at the time and say you lived in Poland and they come in and they try and invade, it's like, oh, well, that's an invasion. If the Polish army stops them, then you can say, thank you for fighting for our freedom. Yeah. But America's always been free. You know, but we'll go back to what, maybe when the British were over there for a while and stuff like that. But, you know, I think the biggest war they had was the North and the South.
Yeah.
But that's inside America. But apart from then, every American's been free. So when they say thank you for fighting for our freedoms, it's like, well, no one's really invading you. It's like, last I can recall, America invades everywhere else, and then they get all the allies to join on in, and then everyone hates America, everyone hates Australia because we're helping them win their little fucking wars, which are just pretty much about making money. It's about oil and shit. They don't care about democracy in fucking Iraq because let's get rid of Saddam. How'd that turn out? The place has been fucking worse ever since. Yes, Saddam was a tyrant and this and that, but he kept fucking, you know, the place in order. They got rid of him and the shit just got worse.
Yeah, well, I find it funny with like the Vietnam War that the reason they did that was to stop the spread of communism. So if you were going to stop the spread of communism in Vietnam, like, to me, you're going to say, oh, look, we're going to have to go over there, fly all these troops, bomb the shit out of them, whatever, all this money. Wouldn't it be cheaper just to go over there and like build them some schools, build them some hospitals,
but why Vietnam? Where America is, what really effect did Vietnam have on the United States?
Well, I mean, they thought that the communism was going to spread and whatever, but the sure way to stop.
Out of all the countries, wouldn't you be more worried about, like, they had like the Cold War they thought was going to happen too? Wouldn't you be more worried about things like Russia and China? Not like a little fucking Vietnam or something.
That makes it even more like, why not? Everything's so much cheaper over
like
there.
They always make fun of Rocket Man here in North Korea.
Yeah.
Because have you ever noticed every place America invades, they don't have nuclear weapons? If you've got nuclear weapons, i.e. China, they're not going to go in there. Look, Chinese citizens get treated shit, so we hear. They're very bad to their people. I don't see America going over there and saving the Chinese people. because they got big guns and big weapons and nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. I think if knowing now in their mind they think, okay, North Korea has nukes, they're not going to go in.
Yeah.
I bet if they knew they were totally nuke free, they would fucking invade. But
Yeah.
as long as they think they are, it's like even I think there's a documentary once where John Killiam, whatever his name is, said it's like it's not about having them. It's just like if I have them, I know I won't get invaded. He goes,
Yeah.
I'd never use them. But just having them gives me that sense like, hey, if they come here, they know I might push a button.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's just crazy.
Well, that might all change if they ever drill for oil and come up.
Are you sure he doesn't have any? Well, look at all the weapons of mass destruction Saddam had.
Yeah. No. Look, that's a topic for another day. But,
And Bin Laden, the body over the boat.
But yeah, no, I think.
You think Bin Laden's dead, or The thing with Saddam, they showed the whole catching of him in the hole, photos of him leading to jail, looking like he's just been fucking a mess. They showed the hanging. And now we have this guy that's meant to have committed the biggest crime ever in America, the Bin Ladens, and they have businesses all throughout America and shit. When planes were grounded, what planes flew out that day? The Bin Laden family left America. When do you think you keep them in America? But then you have him, right? Oh, we finally caught him, the number one guy. Everyone's been searching for him for how long? Looking in fucking caves, looking everywhere. We finally get him. We don't see any pictures of him, no video of it. And then the next day, because he's dead, we dumped his body overseas. You don't think they would parade that body like they paraded Saddam and fucking had him up hanging on the rope and shit? They showed the whole video of him getting hung, but yet, fucking thing, we wanted to respect his fucking, Islamic laws, so we buried him within 24 hours. We dumped his body at sea.
Well, bombing the shit out of all the other poor.
And then the guys that did go on that raid and got him, they died in that helicopter crash like a week or two later.
Yeah.
Oh, how convenient.
No, that's a topic for another day, but I'll just leave it that a very telling fact, or
We'll just leave it as Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill President Kennedy.
No. Well, this in the book it lists all the people that died mysteriously.
Oh, since then.
No, that were involved with the JFK case. Like witnesses.
Car accidents, isn't it?
Yeah. Suicides with
Couple on a plane that went down.
No, like suicides, but the gunshots in the back of the head.
Who was that one guy that did that report on? It wasn't on that one, but it was with the same sort of guy. He did the report on. There's a documentary on him too, and he did the report on the CIA selling all the drugs, and he named names and shit. And he was found suicide. He was shot twice in the head.
Yeah, no, that's quite common. That's quite common. When you're
when you shoot yourself in the head.
Yeah, when you're a whistleblower, you
got to shoot yourself twice.
Yeah.
He committed suicide. He stabbed himself 20 times in the back.
Yeah, and he won Lotto the day before.
Yeah, very depressed. They got everything going for him, but they make him out like his life was in ruins, and then people go, no, wait a minute, he just got a new job. Him and his family were moving to a new city and a new house. I can't understand why he'll do this.
No, but sometimes they do. Like they'll someone that instead of killing him, they'll follow him around or do stuff to him to
drive him mad.
Yeah, or at least make him look crazy. You know.
Oh, that's easy done. And then, like I said, then they harass the family as well, and different family members, the children. There's no limits to when it comes to that sort of shit. Nothing's off limits to those type of people. We're probably being watched now for talking about it.
Well, hopefully we'll start getting to the truth of these, and we've got amongst our listeners, we've got people like Aaron Wilson that are assassins and connected to the the intelligence communities. So
there's buried bodies.
Yeah, he might be able to shed some light on
he
these
might not
things.
be allowed to talk though, because if he talks,
I mean, they might be biting off more than they can chew if they take on Aaron. If they try to,
he's like Rambo.
If he goes rogue,
he'll be like Peter Sutherland in 24.
Yeah.
He'll bring the whole government down.
Yeah. He knows where to hit him where it hurts.
Mm-hmm. He's probably got a tech expert to get into the computers and shit.
Yeah.
I've seen on
No,
TV.
he's a tech expert.
Oh, he is. He's an all-in-one.
Yeah.
But he might need backup in case he is captured. Then he's going to need someone to help with the computers to get him out.
Oh, I'm sure he's got a few gimps in his network.
People on the inside.
Yeah. maintaining his servers.
That guard in that penitentiary is actually working for him. Undo all the locks and turn the cameras off.
No, he doesn't need to undo locks, mate. He just you've seen those 19-inch pythons he's packing. He'll just be bending the
through the walls. He's got those special guns that just melt the wall. You thought only the Avengers had them. Yeah.
No, or he seduces the prison guards.
Oh, yeah, so he could do that. He always talks about gay stuff.
Yeah.
I think that could be the main one.
Yeah.
Excuse me, guard, I need to take a shower.
well, man, that's the thing. All the research of all on those gay websites, he's probably
knows
got
how
a
to do it.
handy playbook. Yeah, you just
what to say, what to do,
yeah.
the right moves to make. Slide the keys out the side. We shouldn't downplay this Aaron Wilson character.
Yeah.
Fly a plane too, I bet.
Yeah, fly a plane. Yeah, F-35.
Shit.
He was the test pilot.
He was probably on Apollo 11, wasn't he? He took the photos on the moon. Aaron Wilson, thank you.